to do the odd song on the banjo. I don't know if you're familiar with the banjo. I'll show you around. This is the big round bit, and then this bit here, that's the long thin bit. That's about it, really. This is the volume control. God, that's cold. So this is a traditional American folk ballad, and I like this because it's got everything in it. Everyone dies. It's about the most miserable song you can come across, really. And I need to, if there's a few references that I need to explain first. It's all set in the part of America that everyone forgets is there, kind of to the left of Chicago, and it's just nothing but trees. And being nothing but trees, that's where they did all the logging. So in the early days, they used to get the loggers used to come from France on big ships all the way down the Hudson and down through the Great Lakes, and they'd get off the boat, and they were called the shanty boys, being French, shanty. And they lived in shantytown. Hey, I see. You learn something, don't you? It's not just a silly night. Well, it is really. So the shanty boys used to come in on the big ship. One of these big ships was called the Eau Claire, and that's referred to in the song. And there's several places referred to in the song. I've checked. I've looked on the map, and these places actually do exist, although no one's ever heard of them. But they're in, just nothing there. So the big Eau Claire used to come down the Hudson, and all these shanty boys used to get off, and they'd do the logging and that. But the resident Americans were a bit snooty, and they used to be what they called grade. They were very, very into their grade, and there was high grade and there was low grade. And this particular lady was a milliner, and she regarded herself as high grade. And of course the shanty boys were regarded as low grade. So the milliner's daughter, who happened to fancy one of the shanty boys, was not allowed to marry him. Now, the milliner, being sort of, I don't know, impulsive possibly, said to her daughter, you can't marry him, and just to make sure, I'm going to shut the shop up and we're going to move to a different town. So she moves off to a different town with her daughter, and her daughter's a bit upset by that. So when autumn comes, she goes off to pick hops, which is what you do if you're upset, apparently. But while she's picking hops, she gets yellow fever and dies. I know, it's sad, isn't it? And the shanty boy that she fancies, he hears about this, and he's upset. Now, apparently, when shanty boys are upset, what they do is they hide their sores in a hollow log. Why? I don't know. There must be thousands of hollow logs in North America with sores hidden in them. So there's probably a bit of an industry there. You could go around collecting them and selling them on eBay or whatever, and you make a fortune. So he does this, he hides his sore in a hollow log, and he goes out and he hires himself out as a hauler on a fleet of sailor jacks. Now that basically means he's one of these blokes who ran around on top of the logs. I don't know why they run around on top of the logs, it's just bravado, I think. But apparently they had this job, they'd stand on the logs and every now and again they'd fall off. Well, of course he fell off and died. And then the milliner went bankrupt. The end of the song, really. Don't need to do it now, do I? It's worth doing because the very last line of the song gives you a slightly different insight into why the milliner didn't want her daughter marrying this shanty boy. No, I won't. Every young girl has her troubles, likewise a man has his. I'll relate to you a story, a tragic one it is. It tells of the affections of a child who's true and fair, and an interesting shanty boy from off the big Eau Claire. Well, this young and dauntless damsel was of noble pedigree, and her mother ran a milliner shop in the town of Moselmanee, with waterfalls and bangles and artificial lace for all those high-blown ladies in that great infested place. And the shanty boy was handsome, he had a curly head of hair. No finer man could there be found from off the big Eau Claire. But the milliner said her daughter the shanty boy never should wed, and Sue was sorely saddened by the things her mother said. And the milliner took up all her things and went and hired a hack, and she opened up another shop in the town upon her lack. And the Sue grew broken-hearted, she was weary of her life, for she dearly loved that shanty boy, but was forbidden to be his wife. And when brown autumn came along and ripened all the crops, she lighted out for Baraboo and went to picking hops. But in that occupation she found but little joy, for her mind it kept returning all to her shanty boy. And she caught the scarlet fever and lay sick a week or two in Nasa Baldwin's past house in the town of Baraboo. Well, the doctors tried, but all in vain, a hapless life to save. Now millions of young hop flies are dancing on her grave. And when the shanty boy he heard the news, he quickly did proceed. He hid his whore in the hollow log and quickly then did leave. And he hired out as a hauler on the fleet of Sailor Jacks, but the milliner daughter's funeral to his mind came constant back. And he fell off at the rapids place at the falls of Moselmanee, which ended all his fateful life and all his misery. And now the broad Wisconsin rolls its waves across his bones, and his companions are the catfish, and his grave a pile of stones. And the milliner, she is bankrupt, and the shop has gone to rack. She talks quite strong of moving away from Pontiac, for her pillow it is haunted by her daughter's auburn hair, and thoughts of that young shanty boy from off the big Eau Claire. Oh,